It is the Mosley Show. We're back in action. Hope you have enjoyed your respite, your time away, and a lot of folks are just carrying the holiday since we're got New Year's Eve on Wednesday. I get it. This is probably a good time to be taking vacation, but Scotty and I decided we would come back to work today. And I don't know if anybody's even, Scotty, it doesn't seem like, I would imagine you're not encountering a whole lot of folks up there at Rogue Media today, but Scotty is in studio. I'm in the Dallas studios. And you might notice, Scotty, I've got a new ball cap. My daughter, part of her Christmas gifts, one of my best friends owns Camp OTX in Bandera, Texas. And so I've got a new array of OTX caps. I got to find one of them I've misplaced. The OG, the one, Scotty, you like so much. But anyway, got a whole new batch of Camp OTX. Okay, that's an offshoot of Camp Ozark, and which is where I was a counselor back in the day, back when I was a Baylor student. And my daughter went there, and so anyway, it's been a big part of our family. So good to be with you guys. And man, lots has happened. A lot has happened. Now, just to get you ready for today, because I mean we're still kind of in holiday mode in some sense, but we got a major guest showing up. Scotty, let's keep our eye out, because this man, he's not if you tell him 1:15, he may show up kind of on Tom Coughlin time. There's a chance he'll start trying to connect with us at about 10 after. And that is the legendary head football coach, former head football coach of TCU, Gary Patterson. And that'll be fun. There's several things we need to go over with Gary. Now, Scotty, you and I we've been in contact, and we have not been back on since the Cowboys road win against the Commanders. They win on Christmas Day, 30-23. Everybody gathered around their TVs, opened Christmas gifts, and watched the Cowboys win a game that actually is a loss. It's what we call a kind of a win-loss, because the Cowboys end up in a situation where they did not help their draft order at all. There was some scenario where the Cowboys could end up picking like 18th and 19th, could have the 18th and 19th picks in this draft. Now, next week, we'll have to kind of see how things play out, to see, do we have a winner, though, in the first overall pick? I believe the Las Vegas Raiders. Tell them what they've won. I believe, because we had a 2-13 matchup. We had some horrible but we had some great games. I mean, I got to say, there he is, Scotty. Scotty is putting us together as we speak. I was about to mention what I thought was like the game of the year last night on Sunday Night Football. The Niners and the Bears. God, the Bears, I don't know what to do with the Bears being this good. Bears are really good. Caleb played well. Purdy was better. Purdy had a better rating actually in that game. But Scotty, it does appear we have the great Gary Patterson. And now, well, look at him. He's all cleaned up. He's got the holiday, got a great look about him. He's also in a 3/4 zip or whatever we call these things. And Coach,
Gary, what do you want? Since you got a hat on, you want me to wear a hat?
Yeah, I kind of like those, because I'm seeing some of those on the NFL sidelines, and I like that logo. I'm gonna put my real glasses on for a second just so I can get a better look at that logo. Let me have a quick look at that logo.
It's called Little Nine. It's Shady Oaks, Little Nine.
Oh my gosh. Let me ask you this. In 1998, okay, what was your first year to get to Fort Worth?
98. 98 season.
Okay. Did you ever meet Mr. Hogan?
No.
Okay. You weren't playing a lot of golf back then, but I was just thinking of Ben Hogan over at those hallowed grounds over there at Shady Oaks, and like just man, I think well, you did get to know Dan Jenkins.
Yeah, Dan and June Jenkins. In fact, June is still alive. June, they were an unbelievable couple. They actually put on our um, party for a engagement party for Kelsey and I. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you could make an argument that he's the greatest sports writer ever. Certainly top 10, and was part of probably one of the greatest assortment of sports writers in the history of American newspapers, as he and Bud Shrake and Gary Cartwright and those guys were at the Fort Worth Press in like the 1950s or 60s. Blackie Sherrod was there, and
Yep.
that was about as good
Knew
as
all those guys.
Yeah. Well, you would have. There's a certain bar in Dallas you would have had to go see Blackie. Blackie didn't steer too much from the Stoneleigh P. I think that was over at Stoneleigh, and Blackie. Those guys, they ran hard, and they they most of them. It's an interesting life, the life of the sports writer. Coach, did you have a prosperous Christmas? Can you show me what was your favorite gift? Is it like behind you right now, or what was the coolest thing you received this Christmas?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really like getting. It's more about giving. I hear a little bit later after I get done with this show, I got my grandkids coming over to open gifts because they were out of town. So, sons, grandkids, wife, it's friends. That's really, what people don't understand about coaches. We were never, as a general rule, probably, 18, 19 times out of 24 years, maybe you were always in a hotel room. My sons thought that Christmas was being in a hotel room in a bowl game, and because it had a game room, and they thought they didn't know how cool that was till they got older, and then they started talking to me about it. But it's, they got to hang around the players and do all those kind of things. It was, Christmas is always kind of, even Thanksgiving, we've always been coaching. You're either practicing on Thanksgiving or you're playing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so you were always getting ready. You had something. Usually we'd have something with the team. After practice, we'd have a dinner and do things. But yeah, it's, you were always, as they say a lot of times about coaches, you especially coach spent more time raising other people's kids than you did your own sometimes. And so,
yeah,
but it was a great experience. Because that's why, for me, it's like I was talking to you earlier about the bowl games. It's why they're a great experience. I still have, the Alamo Bowl TCU's going to play in. The 15 and the 17 game were unbelievable. 15 against Oregon, we're down 31-0. And then the Stanford game in 17. But yeah, it's, you come back and they still, some people even think more of that than the Alamo Bowl. Now, myself, no. I mean, the pageantry of the Rose Bowl was unbelievable. The Peach Bowl was unbelievable. But really, I go back to the experiences all the way back to 98 when first 2 years in the Mobile Bowl, and 2 years in a row there, we in 98, 99, one was the Sun Bowl in 98 against USC, which is what, TCU people are talking about now, kind of a USC TCU in the Alamo Bowl. But, one of the uncommon facts that anybody knows, we held both. The only time that somebody held somebody to minus yards rushing back-to-back bowl games, we held USC, I think it was minus 23, and Eastern Carolina minus 17. Carson Palmer, I think, was quarterback, and then Gerard, I can't remember who the East Carolina quarterback was, but we held him to minus yards rushing.
Oh, David Gerard, is that who you're trying to think of?
Yeah, I think when he had the East Carolina
That
because I
sounds
did them
right.
in
Yeah. No, he's
Central
a,
Florida. There was another really good quarterback at Central Florida. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, so it's you go back and look and you think the kids, the players, the experiences. Um, you know, you look at the bowl game and the Peach Bowl. After we got left out. Baylor and ourselves got left out of the playoffs. Um, and then they put us with Ole Miss, thinking that then they'll show that, at least from my opinion, they'll show that TCU didn't belong in the playoffs after they'd beaten Alabama earlier. And we win. I think it was like 42-3 or something like that. And so there's just a lot of memories that go back, and these kids have something. A lot of kids brag, I have 5 bowl rings.
yeah.
And so
Can we get Scotty, I sent you this earlier. I'd like to get a peek at your ring collection from bowls. Now, you and I was trying to do your record as a head coach, but now we can include the 98-99 games, bowl wins. Oh, there it is. Scotty is a tremendous producer, Gary. I haven't had much good help over the years, but I finally have found someone here that does an incredible job. That's pretty cool. Now, Gary took that a little earlier today because I'd asked him to.
It's not a great pick.
Show off, but it was an aerial photo by Gary as he hovered over the rings. But and there was the watches in there too. I mean, that's really
you always
cool.
you got the rings from the school and you got the watches from the bowl game. We always did. When we started and we always did it. It was one of those things where you wanted to be able to show what you accomplished, something that you could remember by. And then it kind of became a thing with our kids as far as getting another bowl ring. But I think it had bowl games had a lot to do with of TCU climbing the mountain. I think, it's, they say it's not what they say in September, it's what they remember in November and December. And, bowl games after practices, that's what people remembered you by. You got extra practices, kids got extra experiences. A lot of times it was better for our kids to stay at school. That they were they're gonna eat, they're gonna be taken better care of, just for a lot of different reasons than if they went back home. And so those experiences were tremendous as far as doing all of it. I hear people talk about the bowl games are they need to just go away. And I'll be honest with you. I think that maybe for people that do some of it, but if you look for the fans, if you watched last night's ball game, the last couple nights, or you listen to the quarterback, you listen to him talk about getting a chance to come back and play in 3 bowl games, in 3 ball games. And the things he talked about how just getting a chance to come back and play. And that's the thing people don't understand. It's just another game that kids get a chance to play together. I don't understand all the, one of the regrets I will have is that in the COVID year, our kids fight back to get a winning record. And then like a day or 2 days before the ball game, we have all of our defensive linemen come down with COVID. We were going to have like 1 or 2 guys left, and we were supposed to play Arkansas, and we had to pull out. I mean, to be honest with you, I still to this day would be one of the biggest regrets as a head coach that I ever was part of, because I'd watched how much our kids had fought through everything that they'd gone through. And so, not to get a chance to go to the Houston Bowl and be around those people and the gifts the kids get and all the things. I mean, it was a tough game. You do that one was because of health reasons. And so, and some of maybe we should just find a way to get it to make it work. It's you go through all that stuff. But I watch what kids go through, and that's why I don't really understand. I understand going in the portal. I don't understand, and I know I can't, I don't want to get hurt my stock,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you can look at it on the positive. You got one more chance for people to watch you. It's your resume. You got one more game on your resume to be able to prove that. And to play against somebody good from another. Most of the time, they're a winning team, and from another league is who you're going to end up playing your bowl game against.
You
So,
know, yeah, I heard that kid from TCU, McAllister, the receiver, talking about that the other night. Like he wanted to play because some of his other buddies were playing. And then it was kind of funny. Whoever this quarterback is stepping in for TCU said, when I promised I would throw him the ball, and so, yeah. And you saw the Houston beating LSU. And to your point, that, and Scotty Swingler, our producer, brought this up earlier today with me. It could cause, if you have a great win like that, and they won 38-35, and people say, well, LSU's got a new coach. But again, they played, right? They put on the LSU uniform and they went out and played. And I think that win means a lot to Willie Fritz in that Houston program. And in some ways, it could maybe keep some of your players from transferring, participating in something like that. Yeah,
we felt like winning a bowl game was unbelievable. We felt like it was a big positive for recruiting, for people seeing us around the holidays, because they haven't seen you since November. I thought it was big, and you're going to see. I think it's really going to help jumpstart and push Houston even farther up the mountain for recruiting, and because kids are watching. All the kids in the portal are watching that ball game, whether you like it or not, and whether anybody. It's the bottom line to it is they beat an SEC team. Okay, you look at teams even in the Big Ten, that are playing in bowl games and winning it. They're still being seen at the end of December. If you just take, well, we're just going to have the playoffs, we're not going to have the bowl games, we're not going to do any of that. Then what happens? What happens to you've got 16 or 17 or 18 teams in your league, and you only have 4 getting the playoffs. So everybody else stays home. They don't get the extra practices, and they don't get a chance to be seen during the holidays. To me, I think it helps all the leagues. I think if you want to have an argument about who you were, and that's what I would say. I think what people thought about us, it changed the whole trajectory of TCU when we beat USC in the Sun Bowl. And here's the thing people don't understand. We were in the WAC the first year we came in '98, and we were 6-6, and the WAC decided after the season. There's a bunch of the schools decided they wanted to divide, and so they took their ball home. And one of the things that happened is they left UTEP, which had been a team that had always been part of the WAC, with Utah, BYU, and Colorado State, and all Wyoming, all the teams, and they said, we're not going to invite you to be a part of our new league. And so what UTEP and actually the city of El Paso said, well, then what we're going to do is we're not going to invite anybody. And actually, Wyoming had an 8-3 record. I think they had a better record than we are, but they took TCU, and we go and play a USC team that was star-studded. I think Carson Palmer was the quarterback, and we end up winning that ball game like 28-19 or something like that. And it started. So then all of a sudden we got back here, and the administration and the boosters got ready, and we built we didn't really have a full TCU football office, so where we had meeting rooms and everything. And so they came in and we built all that. We actually had partitions in a building behind that we had all our meetings in. So that started the journey, the path of TCU climbing the mountain. And really then if you look at it, you go till 2005 when we first year we're in the WAC, the Mountain West, and we win it. That's when people started taking notice. We beat Oklahoma the first game of the season. You go and play bowl games. I think we played Iowa State also in that game in the Houston Bowl. I mean, they were a really good Iowa State team. If you just look at what being seen in December does for you. In the first year in the Conference USA, because we left the WAC, we went to Conference USA. Okay, then we went to the Mountain West. And then you had, kind of the Big 12, Big East, but it really, we never played in it. And then you ended up in the Big 12. But I think it all had to do with being seen and being able to keep building your resume, and people noticed how you played and what you did. And people watched a higher level of TCU when they watched them in the bowl games of any other time that anybody watched us play. So, I think those, and it's not, is it a, because I hear people say, well, there are blah bowl games. I don't, not to the kids that are playing it, not to the fans that went down to it, because it's not only an experience, but you take a kid from East Texas, and we went out to the Poinsettia Bowl a couple times, and you play in San Diego, and they get a chance to spend 3, 4, 5 days in San Diego, see the ocean, never done this before. There's just so many things that go into a bowl game, and to meet people, even for us as a coach, as a head coach, get a chance to meet mayors, high distinguished people there at whatever the bowl site was at, and get a chance to know them. You're going to have a relationship with them leaving. I still remember that, even the relationship of when we played in the Rose Bowl, and TCU, when they left, they put a full page article in the LA Times. I don't really know if Los Angeles really wanted TCU to be there. It's the first time they'd had a Big Ten and Pac-12 team playing in it, in modern day. And then, but I think when we left, and if you looked at it, here's the most amazing thing, Matt. So I think when we came to TCU, we had like 4,000 applications in 1998 for like 1,500 students coming in. We won the Rose Bowl. It went to somewhere around 24,000 applications for around 1,800 students. And then when TCU in 22 won the played for the national championship, it went to like over 40,000 applications for 2,000 students. So if you don't think that playing in a bowl game and being seen, it makes a big deal to a university. Like I always told people, athletics is not the most important part of the university. I mean, it's like the house. The porch is not the most important part of the house, but it is the most visible. And you can change things. And I think TCU really changed when it was the first time, 2009, we played Utah on game day, 2009. And the chancellor, Boschini, I think all of his friends called him from all over the country, about how pretty the campus was. You had, 8 or 10,000 people in the quad. And I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then you win the ball game. I don't think you can put a price on that kind of advertisement, that you get an opportunity to compete. And people say, well, a university loses in some of these smaller bowls, well, they lose money. But I don't know if you look at it and people are watching you, if you get a chance to be viewed, then people are seeing you. Admissions, all those kind of things, I think, go up. So,
well, the famous one. Now you have to remind me. I think you changed your shirt at halftime, perhaps, but the 31-0 halftime deficit in the Alamo Bowl, where Bram Kohlhausen led the comeback, and what he threw for 351 yards and 4 touchdowns, triple OT thriller. And I'm sure, again, to your point, people still talk about that to this day. And that was a kid that probably wasn't gonna, it took some other circumstances to bring him in to get to play the ball game. And when it was his time, he was ready. So I would imagine that continues to be one of the great moments in TCU football history.
Yeah, Bram, he was a walk-on quarterback from Houston. There'd been places that came because, a coach that we brought from the University of Houston. And I won't talk about all the reasons why Bram ended up being the starting quarterback. But the thing that was amazing about all that is, if you could just listen to all the stories, because at halftime it's 31-0, and then it was raining outside, and probably half the TCU followers left. Okay. And all the stories, you got stories of, going back to the hotel, and then we start coming back and we win the game, and it cost them more. I got guys saying it cost them more in food and beverage back in their hotel room for all the people that came over and watched the game than it did for the tickets to get into the game. And people were sitting on the tarmac watching a 14-inch screen, not letting their plane take off because, they wanted to sit there and watch the game and do all of it. There's just story after story after story of those kind of things. And every university has those. I mean, that's, sometimes the relationships because because I'll hear people talk about, yeah, we ran into Oregon people and they're still not happy about the 2015 game,
Yeah.
or vice versa. And so at the end of the day, you got there, you got an opportunity to play one more time. You got a chance to play a great opponent, and I think that's the thing that people just don't realize. But yet, to this day, those will be memories. And especially Matt, when you stay somewhere 20, almost 25 years. Like I tell people, 25 years. I started in 1998, and you come 24, and you ended in in 2022, 21, 22 era at the end of 21. And so at the end of the day, I mean, you want to know what go from 37 to 62. I mean, that's your life. It's not. And you do it and you watch all the changes, because the greatest part about this whole thing is that, and I talked, as I tell people, there was 5 mayors, 4 athletic directors, and 3 chancellors in that period of time. And the thing that you want to do is, and we finally decided that it was, if we were going to change, we're going to need everybody. And so it was going to have to be, couldn't be TCU was going to grow and Fort Worth wasn't, and it wasn't going to be Fort Worth was going to grow and TCU wasn't. For us to be so special, that we had to do it together. And that's one of the things that I'm really, I look back and probably has been more memorable and everything, is watching. And there's a lot of, as I tell people all the time, it was quite the journey, and it took quite the village. I mean, you talk about the village of the decisions by chancellor and board of trustees at TCU, of the families in Fort Worth that decided, like the Basses and other ones that Moncrief, that decided that, that we needed to do it together and we could grow faster if we did it all, because of the visibility and everything that happened. I mean, it's just, you just can't put a price on, the ball rolling straight once you got to the top and rolling straight down the hill, and how much momentum you got as a city and as a university that it has in the last 20 some years. So, very proud of the people here and the friends I have, and also the school and all the people that were involved that made it different.
I was just thinking, I was reading that story on Cody Campbell, and I was kind of thinking about, like, who was your Cody Campbell? And you just mentioned some huge names in Fort Worth. Of course, the Bass family played an enormous role in Sundance Square and everything that's happened in Fort Worth. So you probably had people who were helping football, but also helping the city of Fort Worth in a lot of ways. Whereas with Double Eagle and those guys, it's all about that football program. It's all about that athletics department. But you had a lot of help over the years. I have you crossed paths with him at all, that Cody Campbell?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He lives here in Fort Worth. Him and John, his partner, they both live here. Their offices are here.
Yeah.
Talked to him about many different topics. And that's kind of why, I cheered for A&M. I cheered I'll cheer for Texas. I cheered for SMU. I cheer, I'm going to cheer for the Red Raiders because simple reason, we're all in. I truly believe when we took almost 45,000 people in purple to the Rose Bowl, there's only 50,000 living alumni. Now it's probably more when that happened than when it happened. But I knew a lot of Texas people that wore orange, but they wore purple that day. I knew A&M people that wore purple that day. I knew Red Raiders that wore purple that day. That for one day they all became a Horned Frog. And so I think you have to do that for Texas Tech. That's why I was cheering for the Aggies the other night. I was cheering for the Longhorns. And I think, at the end of the day, those kind of things are important. And it took somebody like Cody Campbell that played there, graduated from there, him and John to say, and there's others that are in that, that are really making a difference with their athletic programs. But at the end of the day, it's just really cool that somebody would. For me, it was 4 sevens that are led by Dick Lowe. I mean, Hunter Ennis. If you look at Kelly Cox, if you look at the Moncriefs, if you just look at all the names over there, they're on boxes. Amon Carter Foundation, John Justin Foundation. I mean, there was just a large group of people. It took everybody. It's funny, Matt, because in 2004, which was the first losing season we had at TCU, when we came in 98, 2004, we went 5-6. It was probably the best learning lesson I had as a head coach, because we had went 10-2, 10-2 in 2002 and 3. And, I remember I think it was in the spring, they talked about, someday we're going to go to a BCS game. And they kind of laughed at me and like, okay, young head coach, love your enthusiasm, but this will never happen. And then the guy that's named now on the basketball arena, Schomeyer, we were sitting in a meeting because we built the basketball arena, redid it after we got done with the football stadium. But I remember sitting in a stadium meeting with him, next to him, and he said, I love what you're doing, but I don't think you'll ever get this done. And so the thing that you have to have, I guess my point is, you have to have somebody that's top that's just not going to take no for an answer. We all had to have a vision.
Yeah.
We had to win ball games. We had to do all of it, but you had to put yourself in a situation where you weren't going to take no for an answer. And you're just going to keep doing your part, and you had to win. People had to be able to believe, but it all changed when we won the Rose Bowl because of the national publicity, and we knew we were going to have to do more stadium and other things. Chris Del Conte, which was my third athletic director. But if you look at him, Eric Hyman, then Danny Morrison, which he then went to be the Carolina Panther president. Then you had Chris Del Conte, which, Chris was unbelievable. Now he's the AD at Texas, which I think, to be honest with you, he's probably the best athletic director in college football right now, as far as how he does things. I watch him from afar, get a chance to talk to him quite a bit, but what he does with things. Then Jeremiah Donati carried that forward, and now it's Mike Buddy. And so everybody needs to, you have to have a little bit of a history lesson. I always tell people, and I use Coach Snyder. I was a player at Kansas State, and in 1981 was the first time we went to a bowl game. Kansas State had ever gone to a bowl game in their history. And the thing that happened with it was, when Coach Snyder got there, he kind of said, it's kind of embarrassing that we've only been to one bowl game. But the point being is, he had a blueprint of how to win and how to change it. Kansas State initially went away from that, and then with the last coach they just had come back, they went kind of back to that blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Had to find guys that were Kansas State type of guys and worked hard, and they've won. And I think that's also with TCU. You just look at, when I look back at it, there's no way any of this stuff could have happened unless you would have had a lot of people saying the right things and backing you up and doing the things you needed to. And to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons everybody asked me, because of all the different places that we were offered jobs, and they were all really good jobs. The key was I just wanted to make a difference somewhere that it gave me an opportunity. And, now I have, you have friends. I have friends that maybe I never would have had, because coaches are always going too fast. And, and the people, and you look back and see, look what this city looks like now, and look what the university looks like now, and say, okay, I was a very small part of that whole situation. But, you just had to keep pushing everybody's hand to make sure that everybody could have the vision of seeing what it was going to be like if you could get to this point. And so here we go.
I want to get you out of here. So when your grandkids, because they'll come running in, I'd like to get them on screen if they move in there. How old are all your grandkids, by the way?
12 and 6, 11, okay. 12 and 6. Yeah. 3 of them. I got a fourth one that's going to be born here any day here. So
that's exciting. That's very exciting. What do they call you? What do they call you?
Coach, Coach P.
They just call you P.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, your old adversary is back. He's a head coach again. Art Briles is at Eastern New Mexico. I'm sure you saw that news a few weeks ago. Signetti has been unbelievable. He's 66 years old. Kyle Whittingham at 66 gets hired at Michigan. Do these things? Does that you're looking younger than I've seen you in a long time.
Well, thanks, Matt.
Do you, when you see these things happening and the 60-something coach sort of having its moment, does that fire you up? Do you want one last go at this, or do you think your head coaching days are behind you?
Well, one of the things people need to understand, one of the reasons I've been out, because we hit all the check marks. You had to qualify for the College Hall of Fame. You had to be out 3 seasons. And so that's one of the reasons why, and we're on the ballot this year. We'll see if we got selected. It's hard because they only take 2 Power 5, Power 4 coaches a year into the Hall of Fame, and then a couple other coaches. And so I'll see how that goes. It was always a goal of mine, to try to be part of something, to try to do something. If you could be special enough to do something where you could qualify and be worthy enough to do that. And so we'll find out if that happens. One thing that I do have as a goal that would be cool to me, though, and is that I'm only 19 wins away from 200 wins, which is not very, very often that coaches get a chance to get to that point. And I'll be honest with you, in some ways, I'd like to be able to take, you'd like to see yourself be able to do it again at another place and take a program and build it back up to championship level. And so we'll see how all this turns out. But it's been fun. As I tell people, I knew Fort Worth, but I didn't know Fort Worth. Always worked so much. It's like people said, well, how long you been a member out at Shady Oaks, Colonial Hall? Well, I mean, this was 15 years ago. And, but they never saw me because I was always working. I was never there, a part of it. Well, I'm going to have to go. My grandkids are here.
All right. That's what happened to that Auburn coach. He was playing too much golf on the job. All right. Give him a hug, and I wish you'd put him on screen. But yeah, that's a very exciting time. Hey, thank you. Always great to catch up with you. Appreciate you. Oh, the dogs.
Oh, yeah. We got people here. So.
Okay. See you, Gary. Appreciate you. Oh, goodness. Christmas time. It's fun. Grandkids arriving. What do you say? He's got another one on the way. So maybe a 4th grandchild. He's saying 12, 11, and 6. Scotty, you just wind him up, and the man could talk. The only regret I have there, I didn't. I kind of wanted to get his take on. He played at K-State, and I'm sure he has a take on Joe Klanderman at K-State. But what was I going to do? Just kind of, cut him off. He was having a good time talking about bowls. We'll get Gary back on, and we'll have time to ask him about the Clandy Man. Scotty, do you think he would enjoy, like, if we played the Clandy Man for him sometime? The Clandy Man can. Oh man, I tell you, Joe Klanderman. He's a big. And by the way, Joe watches this show. Shout out to Joe. Some of the assistants there. I hope Joe enjoys this.
The Candy Man. The Candy Man. Oh, the Candy Man can. The Candy Man can.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. It also made me laugh that one time you put up like the Sammy Davis Jr. on the screen singing it or something. I don't know. It's funny to. Oh man, the Rat Pack, Sammy, and of course the great Dean Martin, and old Blue Eyes Sinatra, Joey Bishop. I think Joey Bishop was hanging around, although Joey had some ties to the local mafia scene there, I think. But anyway, good guys. The old Rat Pack. All right. I think the mafia tried to get in there, pal around with them a little bit. But anyway, they were focused mostly on entertainment. Thank you, C&B. Appreciate that. We were robbed the other day, Scotty. Illness, issue with his voice, kind of some bronchitis, slipped up and got our musical entertainment. pre-Christmas, we were going to have trumpet player Brian Fonville, executive at Central National Bank. And I heard a great other night. Scotty, you would have been proud of me. You're the kind of guy that goes to shows and goes to concerts. I'm not. But my buddy, who's a singer-songwriter that went to Baylor, I know we need to take a break in a minute, but invited me to the Granada. It's on Greenville Avenue in Dallas for people that aren't from the Metroplex. Anybody from the Metroplex knows exactly where that is. Bob Schneider was playing his holiday show, and he's fun. He's a fun guy. I mean, believe it or not, Bob Schneider is 60 years old. And Scotty, if you're not familiar, which you kind of should be, because he's famous in certain circles. He used to date Sandra Bullock, by the way, at the kind of the turn of the century, about 25 years ago. But I would say he's sort of at like a similar popularity level to like the old 97s or something. In fact, that night I went to the show the other night, whatever that night that was, Saturday night, the old 97s were playing in town as well, led by Rhett Miller. And I went to Baylor with his brother, with Rhett's younger brother, Ross Miller. But those are two fun shows, fun bands. Ken Bethea, the lead guitarist for old 97s, is in my Bible study, by the way. But Bob Schneider puts on an awesome show. It's extremely interactive. And like those old school entertainers, Scotty, he had his full band with him too. And the guy that played, the reason this all came up, the guy was playing the trumpet or the horn. He had the horn, he'd put that down, he'd play the accordion, then he'd play the synthesizer, and he could play anything. He could do anything. And it was just awesome. It wasn't like, oh, that's a two-man band. It was Schneider, that guy, bass, lead guitar, and you had the drummer, and they were all awesome. But now, what's some F-bombs happening? It was not like your Baptist. This was certainly not like First Call or Michael Card or Michael English coming to town. I don't know who Michael Card is. Was there a Card? Or let's do something more modern. This was not like DeGarmo and Key. No, that's not modern. The Dave Crowder Band? That's not either. What's something new, Scotty? Who, Casting Crown? No, that's not it either. Is there some? I can't think of anybody new. It used to be
Brandon
like Jarvis.
Lake.
Okay, good.
Forrest Frank.
Oh, he's a Baylor guy. Caedmon's Call.
You are living in the past. Dude.
Watch you see him stopped. Just it had an abrupt halt.
You are
about
living
2000,
in the past.
about 97 or 98. We just shut her down. All right. Forrest Frank. I'm more familiar with Forrest Gregg. All right. Thank you to everybody. Okay, we got more to do. Scotty, I always joke with Scotty because I say, hey, we're going to have some holiday hours, and then we never do. We just go sprinting past the finish line. Today, because of some major travel I got to do, we are going to cut it off a little early, but we are going to do another segment. And this is where we're going to hear from Scott Drew. Yesterday, he responded to, I guess, his new supervisor. We thought Doug McNamee was who Scott was going to report to, but Tom Izzo, Scott Drew now reporting to Tom Izzo, who has appointed himself the moral. Oh, and by the way, just a gag moment. Bruce Pearl is getting involved. Oh, we need to have guidelines and rules. Dude, you got to know when to you got to read the room. I mean, you're a great coach. All right. But you were known as like a cheater of all cheaters. So don't come out now. We're going to have some rules and guidelines. You and Coach Cal and Patino and the whole lot of you cheated your rears off. And then now you want to come tell us all how we're supposed to act. We can't have this. We can't have these rules. Buddy, take care of your own house. All right? Look at your own house before you start casting stones. Could be biblical there. All right? Something about, what's that thing about the eye or something about what's that log in the eye or something? I like that verse. Something about take that log out of your own eye. I have to look into that a little bit. Some good stuff. can't remember. Where'd that come from in the Bible? All right, let's take care of our folks, and then we'll talk the Scott Drew controversy that somehow took over all of college basketball and really transcends all sports. That's next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
It's the wrap-up the year sales event at Allen Samuels in Waco. Drive home a new Ram 1500 Lone Star with 0% for 72 months or 3.9 for 72 months. Plus 10% below MSRP and get 2,000 holiday select inventory cash. Need more power? Check out the selection of new Ram 2500s, all backed by our 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty and no payments for 90 days. Hurry to Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you get a call saying they're going to lock you in jail for missing jury duty unless you pay a fine, that's fake. Scammers use scare tactics to force you to act without thinking. Just hang up the phone.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Coverson, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Matt Piffle, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mappiffle.com and start celebrating your story today.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
Audience Mosley back with you during the holidays, a holiday special. We just continue to turn it around, and man, a lot has happened since we were last on. Scotty, I thought that was interesting. Gary Patterson joining us as his grandkids were arriving. He was going to have Christmas with them, and you heard him arrive at the house. The dog arrived. Lots of family fun there. But toward the end of that interview, and we still got a good amount of time with Gary, but I had a couple. I just needed to get to that Clanderman. I kind of wanted his take on old Joe Clanderman. But that was interesting that he still wants to be a head coach. So he's kind of sat out with the clock ticking, and now he has a chance to go into the College Football Hall of Fame. Now, they only take a couple from the Power Four, so I hope he gets in there. He should. I mean, my gosh, in addition to all the winning he did at TCU, he's probably thought of as one of the greatest defensive coaches of the 2000s. Like, after Nick Saban and maybe Kirby, I mean, I don't know. After Nick Saban, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, in terms of, like, who's the best defensive innovator and the things that Gary did that made him so well known with his secondary and all the alignments and everything he accomplished at TCU, I think he should be. But he said he's 19 wins short of 200 wins, and he would like to have a shot at that. And Gary, Scotty, check me on his age. I would guess he's about 63 or 64 now. Whittingham just got hired at Michigan at age 66. Signetti's on an unbelievable heater at Indiana at age 66. So I think Gary is probably sitting there about 64.
Gary Patterson is 65.
Ah.
So
Okay, but not too old. Not too old to do it.
His prime off season is next off season.
Okay, he'll be, yeah. When is Gary's birthday? Let's remember to send him something. Does it say on there?
I already closed it. Hold on.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
No, I'll look for you, Matt.
Have you ever thought about breaking one of those caps in, just giving it a little bit of shape, like just a tad bit?
His birthday is February 13th. So about a month and a half.
Are you saying he becomes 66 on that one?
Correct.
I think he's a little bit younger than that. Dang it. Okay, well, he needs to get the word, get into the College Football Hall of Fame, because I think the clock would have to start again on that honor, and I think he'd love to do that, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves and they changed the rule. You'll recall that you had to have like 600 winning percentage or something, because that one was keeping people like Mike Leach out. Well, it was really done for Leach. Leach now has a path to get in, and it also opens the door for people like Jackie Sherrill, who had a great run at Pittsburgh and then A&M, and followed by Mississippi State. And there was one other coach who it kind of, was going to maybe you could sneak them in there. I wonder what Coach Taft, I mean, he's in a lot of Hall of Fames and everything, but like I don't know what his head coaching record was at Baylor, because obviously he had some rough seasons to kind of before they got going. He had some great seasons. I wonder how many games Grant won from if only we had a way to look. No, 1972 to he retired after the 92 season, I think it was. So he went 20 years at Baylor, and I bet he averaged 20 years. 20 times 6. I bet he won about 120 games or 130 games at Baylor. I don't know. I'm just spitballing that, but Grant but again, see, that's another person that just on his body of work and like what he meant to college football, and then becoming the president of the American Football Coaches Association. By every definition, Grant should be a Hall of Famer, but I don't know if his numbers or his winning percentage would meet whatever they just did.
He's in there.
Which one was it? How's it list him? I just want to make sure it's what I'm thinking. The CFF, the College Football Hall of Fame, or is he in the AFCA Hall of Fame?
No, when I went to the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, he was in there. 2001 inductee.
Into the College Football Hall of Fame?
Yes, sir.
See how many wins he ended up with.
170.
Please. Whoa, I'm sorry to Lane and anybody watching this right now, the Taft family. But that's counting what he did at McMurray and Angelo State, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he had some good seasons there. So does it say how many he won at Baylor? Was it closer to about 120 or something? 115 to
128, 105, and 6 at Baylor.
So that probably doesn't meet the percentage that you would need to meet to be in, but his overall coaching record might do it. 170 and what?
He was 170 and 151.
That's not a good enough percentage to meet the standard to College Football Hall of Fame dictates. I mean, they might have put him in as a contributor because he did so much for college football. I don't know, but yeah, as a coach, those numbers would not meet the whatever percentage you need to have.
And I don't know when they added that percentage on, but I've got the page pulled up right here, and he is inducted as a coach. It doesn't say contributor; it says coach. So, 2001, maybe the rules were different.
That's a good, but by any measure, Gary Patterson should be in there. You're right. College Football Hall of Fame, inducted in 2001, recognized for his impactful career as a college head coach at McMurray, Angelo, and Baylor, leading Baylor to South Conference titles. I mean, again, I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm just saying that his winning percentage does not meet the current standard that they have.
He's at like 53. Yeah. He's at like 53%, which is under that mark that they just changed.
They lowered it to what, 58 to get. They lowered it to whatever to get Mike Leach in.
Leach was literally a couple games short.
Okay.
He was very close. So.
Yeah, but they had a percentage thing put on it. I do think Jackie Sherrill could go in now, and honestly, I think I would make a case for Jackie. And Jackie was up to some interesting tricks at A&M in the 80s, but that made him like almost every coach at the SWC other than Grant. I think the only two not cheating in the SWC would be Grant and the coach at Rice. You might ask me, Matt, who was the coach at Rice? When I was a young lad, the coach at Rice was named Ray Alborn. And then they had, at some point, they had Kenny Hatfield, who played and coached at Arkansas after Lou Holtz. He became the head coach at Arkansas after Lou Holtz. That's what people, Scotty, of your vintage, and I was just a kid, but it's hard for people to understand like how great Arkansas was at football. Like they had a span with Frank Broyles and then Lou Holtz. So we're talking mid to late 50s all the way into at least like, let's see, I'm trying to think when Lou Holtz left Arkansas. He probably left Arkansas in about 85. So from about 1955 to 85, Arkansas was pretty great at football. And then Hatfield was fine. Hatfield was okay, but not, it kind of petered out a little bit. And then by the time they got in the SEC, they really have not ever been heard from again. But the SWC with Grant Taft at Baylor, Jackie at Texas A&M, Ron Meyer and Bobby Collins at SMU, Bill Yeoman at Houston, who was great from the mid-70s on into the 80s and 90s. And then I say that in the 90s, Jack Pardee and John Jenkins took over at U of H. But God, right up until the end, the old SWC was pretty dang fun because you had Spike Dykes at Tech. I mean, you name a school in that group, Scotty, they all had great, colorful, fun coaches. The only one you would say was not great was whoever was at Rice. And I already went over that. I'm trying to think, who have I left out? Arkansas, SMU, Rice, Tech, Baylor, A&M, Texas had, they went from Darrell Royal to Fred Akers. And then they just kind of went in some weird directions because they had David McWilliams and John Makovic, and then they got Mac, and then Mac steadied things in the late 90s or whatever, whenever he took over. Circa 1996 or 97, Mac takes over and then goes on a great run all the way through them playing in the national title game in 2009. Mac comes over from UNC. And my enduring memory of Baylor during that time was you had the great ending when they basically ended Mac's career at Texas at the final game at Floyd Casey. But Scotty, it was the worst. Was Mac loved Kevin Steele, and so he'd beat him 50 to nothing or whatever, and then they would go out to midfield and just hug on each other and just Mac. And then after Kevin got fired, I'm down there covering an A&M Texas game, and and it was circa 2000, let's say 99 or 2000. So he's just gotten fired. Kevin still has, probably 2000 or 2001. And I look, I'm there getting ready to ask Mac questions at the post-game news conference, and there's Kevin Steele with the family, with Mac's family. And I was embarrassed for Baylor. I was embarrassed for Kevin Steele. And all Kevin Steele did is go spend about the next 18 years as a really good defensive coordinator in college football. But he was not cut out to be a head coach. Okay, Scotty, I told you we were going to get out early. I do want to do this real quick. The story du jour in college basketball. Baylor takes, now Scotty, what is our man's name? Najee is his last name, from Nigeria. We'll call him the
James.
Nigerian Nightmare. James Najee, yes. Scotty, first of all, come back, Scotty. I like having you because this is, and we'll call this Campus Confidential here. We'll just, let's put up the deal. Scotty's been, we've all been vacationing and having holidays, but Scotty, as always, was heavily prepared today Scotty, when you saw that Baylor was doing this, Baylor brings in James Najee, and that story hit like, was it Christmas Eve or something like that? I mean, it hit, Scotty. Did you anticipate? It might have been 2 days before Christmas, whatever. I think we were already off the air, so it probably was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Scotty, did you immediately anticipate huge blowback from the college basketball community, or did the blowback even exceed what you thought it would be?
Yeah, I think it exceeded, Matt, just because we've gone through now several G Leaguers signing with different college basketball teams. There have been other players who have played minutes in the NBA who are rumored to be looking at Big 12 schools, Houston, BYU, whoever. And so for the outrage towards Scott Drew and Baylor for signing a kid that was drafted but has not played a minute in the NBA, to my knowledge, Matt, has not ever even signed a contract to play a minute in the NBA, has primarily played overseas. I don't understand what makes that more egregious than a G League player. And certainly,
it's
I don't
just
think
the
it's
draft.
any more egregious
Yeah, it's
than
just
some
the
of these other
fact.
kids that are rumored to be,
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, and that one kid, by the way, I get On Three. Did you see On Three? I don't know if I sent that to you or not. That Joe Tipton young guy. By the way, you got to stand. If you hire extremely young people, you got to let them make mistakes. I made all kinds of mistakes when I was a kid and coming up in the business, and that guy put it out there that all these teams were interested in this guy that actually played on a two-way contract.
Yeah.
And then something comes out. It's like, this isn't like. There's a lot of things right now that we don't know if it's legal or illegal, and we don't know what to believe. But On Three had to come out and go, I'm really sorry. This did not meet our level of reporting, and they had to retract that because they put all these schools that were interested in this guy that played on a two-way contract and has actually been in an NBA game. And the schools,
8 NBA
the schools were like, I don't know. We don't even know about this kid. I don't know why we're getting reported like this. So that makes me know now, Scotty, they tipped their hand. Now, I'm not going to condemn this kid. I didn't even mean to bring up his name. I think I already did. But
when there's smoke, there's fire, Matt. I have no doubt. And you know this too, that some of these more competitive programs that have funds to pay people are going to keep pushing the boundary as far as it can go. Hey, maybe he only appeared in 8 NBA games. Maybe he only appeared in 10. Like they are going to push until they find a line. And so far, there has been no line. So I have no doubt there are men who have played NBA minutes who are being spoken with by the more competitive schools. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? And that's
try to look into it to see if it's even, even, and maybe that is a bridge too far. For some people, I laugh thinking about, I wanted to tweet something like that. I think you kind of like that tweet. I saw you like it. I think you retweeted it. I just said something basically the other day because Izzo comes out with his whole thing. He's like, I got to call into Scott right now. I got to call into Scott Drew. And that's we'll play Scott's reaction to it here in a minute, Scotty. But I think I just tweeted, did not realize Scott Drew reported to Izzo. And it's funny, that thing kind of took off. I think you liked it and a lot of people did. But it's like, I even think the people like the Jeff Goodmans of the world didn't know exactly how to react to the story because on one hand, they need all these coaches, and so they like to kind of act like they're outraged, right? Because if they sense that some of these top coaches out there are outraged, they like to kind of be on that side. But what makes me laugh is, okay, yes, this is a Nigerian guy. He's 21 years old. It's not like he's not college age. I mean, he's certainly within the parameters. I mean, there are guys in college now that are like 26 years old, and he got drafted number 31, first pick in the second round, and his rights were traded to the Knicks. And as you said, Scotty, what he has done is played on these summer league type teams. Well, almost anybody. I know a guy that was a lead singer in a band who the Mavericks, it was almost like a novelty deal. He's a good guy. He was like a walk-on at Alabama years and years ago. And the Mavs put him on their summer league roster. And it was kind of a fun story because somehow he'd overcome leukemia or some form of cancer, not non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it was an interesting story, right? But the truth is the Mavs put him on the roster. He was a good player, but it was not thinking, oh, he's going to play for us someday. It was like a cool summer league type story. Well, Najee is on that, and then he goes and plays in these pro leagues. Well, all these kids getting brought in have been in these pro leagues, like across college basketball. So the only thing that sort of made this story different and interesting is that somebody drafted him. And this is the first player that was drafted that has ended up going back to college. And apparently the NCAA has approved this, and it has really caused Tom Izzo some consternation. Now, Scotty, why is Tom Izzo so upset about this? Well, sort of because he feels betrayed by Scott. Because when Tom Izzo, and you remember this, Scotty, condemned this G League business, Scotty jumped in with him and said, I'm with Coach Izzo. Yeah, I mean, at G League, there's no rules. We would just like to know what the rules are. And so Scotty's reaction to the G League situation, I think, probably led Izzo and others to think, well, Scotty and Tom Izzo are in lockstep. Well, what Scotty did is go, well, dang it. We need another big man. We only have a 7-man rotation. Our Bodo's not coming back. Let's go see what we can do. And we thought he was going to bring in a big man, European guy, but kind of like one of these Europeans that have been in the pro leagues, overseas, doing whatever they're doing, and then bring one of those guys back. He happened to bring a guy that was drafted, and it became a big story. I think Baylor should embrace this. And the good news is Scott, while I'm sure Scott was deferential toward Izzo and was nice and respects Izzo, Scott putting a picture of him with James Najee out there Sunday night was Scotty's way of saying, hey, we're going to do this. Sick them. Yeah.
Top tier trolling.
Now,
so good.
Here's what is funny to me. And I'll tell you what we'll do, Scotty, because we'll get out of here in a second. But we'll play Scotty's thing. But, Scotty, the whole scheme of things, this kid will probably, James Najee, and people, I say kid, and they'll treat him like he's like a 10-year NBA vet. But like the ceiling for this kid this year is 7 or 8 points a game. And like 2 blocks a game, and a good rim defender and a good rim runner. But basically like what Ojanwina was. He's not Yves Messi.
No,
he's not anywhere close to Yves. Yes.
Fill the lane, block some shots, get some rebounds.
So this will be all, I mean, again, will he help Baylor? Sure. Will he step into Baylor and be like some kind of huge NBA talent? No. Because if he was that guy, if he were Yves Messi, he'd be playing in the NBA right now.
Correct.
Now, this guy has 4 years of eligibility at Baylor. Do I think he'll still be at Baylor when he's 24, 25 years old? No, I do not. What Baylor is doing is they desperately need somebody, and they're hoping Najee can help them. In the future, they have all kinds of guys. Think about it. The Bodo might be back. Mayo Sosa, or however you say his, Soye, he might be there. I mean, they have all kinds of opportunities of big men that could be Iggy, who's about 6'7" or 6'8", Iguodala. They do have some dudes over there on that bench that will help them someday, but they're redshirting these guys. And the thought is Iguodala needs a redshirt. You know what? I'm happy that Andre Iguodala, who is an NBA Finals MVP,
yes,
with the Warriors, was a star player for the Sixers, won however many rings, at least 3 rings with Golden State. How cool is that in a time where LeBron wanted his kid to barely score 6 or 7 points a game for USC and come straight there because LeBron's LeBron and he loved the thought of his kid playing with him. Andre Iguodala, whose son is probably every bit as good as Bronny. Who knows? Maybe that's putting too much on him, but probably in the neighborhood.
He has a higher ceiling.
Probably.
Just because of his body type and athleticism, yeah.
And here is Andre taking a whole different... Now, Andre's retired, so maybe that's a different thought process. But Iguodala is like, you know what? I'm fine with my kid redshirting and trying to get better because that's what Baylor used to do. That's how Corey Jefferson, that's how Jonathan Motley, that's how AC, I mean, like,
Bingo.
AC may have played his true freshman year, but a lot of those guys redshirted. My gosh, how do you think? I mean, Davion had to sit out a year. Flagler had to sit out a year. Maceo had to sit out a year.
Matt, you are nailing right down Main Street what could make Scott Drew one of the 5 best coaches in college basketball for the next 10 years. With the current landscape, we have lost the plot on player development. We've lost it. And you can go through Scott Drew's entire tenure at Baylor, and you just named several. Taurean Prince was a 2-star. AC was never an NBA prospect. Corey Jefferson was a 2-star, 3-star. Scott Drew turned all of them into NBA play. I mean, Taurean Prince is still an NBA player, right? And it was over those 3-4 year development tracks. Obviously, Andre Iguodala trusts Scott to do that for his kid. Don't get it twisted. James Najee is hoping that he can come spend a season or 2 at Baylor, and then he will be developed enough to play in the NBA because Scott Drew can probably develop him better than some random European club. Isaac Williams' kid, right? Monte Williams' kid, Isaac Williams, will be at Baylor next year. Another NBA player's son coming to Baylor hoping to develop into an NBA player. If Coach Drew can be countercultural in that way, to say, yes, we're going to sign the VJ Edgecombs and we're going to sign the Eves Meeseys and we're going to have these one-and-dones that are incredible, Keontae George, they're going to be part of our program. But also, if you need 2 to 3 years to become an NBA talent, I'm the guy to do it for you. Drew has the resume for it, and you just named it. There are 3 or 4 players on this roster. I think Michael Perez, who's out with an ACL, but the kid we signed out of Italy, he's a guy that needs a year or 2 to develop into an NBA guy. And if Drew can keep developing some of these kids from 3-star prospects into NBA draft picks, man, that is infinitely valuable in a landscape of college basketball that's about making money, one and done, and has kind of lost the plot on coaching, development, consistency. And I love that, by the way. And I could talk for 10 more minutes about how valuable Scott Drew is for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's wouldn't that be interesting? And I think, by the way, not to be overcorrector, but Elijah Williams is Monty Williams' son. Yeah, Isaac is on this current team. But
Sorry,
I know how you got there. To piggyback off of that, what if, in addition to all that development you're talking about, what if the NCAA, instead of being so mad, like this was a moment that led toward, I mean, like some of the G League is kind of a joke. You'll have like random 35-year-old dudes who have no chance, or 30-year-olds that are just filling out rosters that have no chance. Like, what if college basketball could be what it's really become? Like, it's always been a feeder to the NBA, but like, what if it became more formal in the sense that, some of the, I mean, maybe you could actually get some rules in place if you did what Scott Drew is doing. If you formalized and allowed people either drafted or this be another alternative to the G League. Play in college, but but then people could listen. A reminder, Scotty, in hockey, your kid can get drafted, and as long as you don't go play in an NHL game, you can go back and play your college. It's happened for years in baseball. People would play minor league baseball in the off season or whatever, or play for years in minor leagues and then come back and play college football.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like Drew Henson at one point, actually, did he get called up to the Yankees, before he, I was trying to think how that all worked.
Brandon Whedon, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was 27 when he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. The guy, Josh Winkie, or one of those guys was old, Chris Winkie, Josh Winkie. What was that guy's name? Chris Winkie. The Florida State guy was like 27 or 28 because they had played pro baseball. So we're sort of acting like, oh my gosh, we've never done anything like this. And the truth is, in other sports, there's been stuff like this going on. So anyway, I
still believe, and maybe this is naive, Matt, and maybe this is changing. Okay. So I could be wrong. I could be living in fantasy land. I still feel like if you are a player who wants to be developed and coached, I just believe you're going to have 10 times more success and coaches genuinely caring for your best interest at the college level than at the G League level. I just believe that's still the culture of college basketball. And maybe 5 years from now, it's all transactional and it's a semi-professional thing and that it is what it is. But, at least when it comes to a Scott Drew, a freaking Tom Izzo, like Kevin Young at BYU, Kelvin Sampson at Houston, whoever. Like, these are coaches that can make you your best player, I think, in a better way than any European program, any G League. I still think you're right. The path forward for college basketball is to embrace being developmental towards the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah. And while you're being developed, you socially, if you got to go to class still, which they seem to try to still do, that could actually probably help you for later in life.
In personal development. Absolutely.
By the way, I had this thought, and I meant to tweet this. Like, imagine sitting over here and like Danny Hurley and others and like ripping Scott for this. And then meanwhile, you're BYU and you're paying DeBanza like $7 million for 1 year.
Yeah.
And but you're going to act like that's okay. But this is, you've crossed the line here. If I had to guess what Baylor was paying Najee, first of all, this was smart because by kind of hiding this and then dumping this out in America, because all these coaches can act like they're taking the moral high ground. And the truth is, if word got out and not whoever's representing Najee, there would have been 10 coaches fighting over him. If they thought this was right, this would have been way more than just Baylor going after Najee. And the question will be, what are they paying Najee? And I would guess that they have not certainly done a 4-year deal. I would imagine they did a 1-year contract with James Najee, and they probably looked at what he was making in the NBA or to play overseas. And I would imagine for this one season that Najee will receive somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000, $500,000 to $700,000. I would be surprised if this reached $1 million. I just don't think he's really done enough other than just get drafted. He's not demonstrated enough for Baylor to blow its whole budget on him. But I think probably what you do in these situations is and that's another great article, by the way, Scotty, if you didn't get a chance to read it. Somebody dug into, oh man, I'll find it for you. But somebody did a deep dive. Oh, it was the guy from The Athletic. It was Stu, what's his name? Stewart something. And he did a deep dive into how these schools are circumventing the rev share and the NIL, and whether that new commission that's supposed to be like approving all these deals, like what they're doing, and if people are just purposely like hiding their deals from them. I've often wondered, I'm like, I know people are cheating and I know people are circumventing the cap and all that kind of stuff, but I wondered like how they're doing it in all the different ways. And he hits on like 5 different ways schools are playing the show game and moving stuff around. Interesting article, and I'll find it and send it to you. I just happened to read that over the holidays. Scotty, this is good, man. Good for the soul. Good to be with you tomorrow, Scotty. Our people, and we'll keep you up to date via Twitter when we're going to come on. I've got a long road trip to make, but we're going to figure out a way to do the show tomorrow. It just may be a little bit later than usual. We'll keep you up to date, and we'll, as always, we encourage our Twitter audience. We have a large Twitter audience. We encourage all you guys to sign up on the YouTube, and we do a bunch of stuff over there, and then you can like sound off and we'll put your stuff. I also wanted to say thank you to the Brazos Landing. The Landing. That's what we at the end of every show, we talk about the Landing, and we talk about that great restaurant right over there on the Brazos. And we're so appreciative, the Lindsay's, everything they do, and just getting over there. I'm thinking about the chicken fried steak. I'm thinking about the bang bang shrimp. It's just tremendous food. The BLT to me is just, it's one of the great pleasures of the holidays. Oh, there it is. The Brazos River flowing under that bridge right there where the Brazos River meets I-35. And you can see the Foster. So tonight when Baylor plays Arlington Baptist and beats them by like 90, you just kind of go over there. Show up at the game whenever you want. Have a cocktail or two, or a mocktail, as the Baptists like to say, and which I'm one, by the way. Have some of that, and then run over there and enjoy your time over there at the Foster Pavilion. And then, of course, get revved up because the Bears open the conference season Saturday against by hosting. They'll be at TCU, and then that first home game, I believe, is on the 7th. January 7th, and that's Iowa State coming to town. Gosh, it's going to be fun. Cannot wait for a home game at the Foster as the Bears truly, and that may be the debut. Wouldn't that be a fun time? I think they'd like to get James Najee in a game before then, if possible. We'll just have to see if the young Najee, but I mean, if he's been playing in all these summer league and around the NBA teams and then playing foreign, I have to think that James will pick things up pretty quickly. The man from Nigeria. Baylor has had a lot of great experience with West African players, and he is one of those from Nigeria. Lagos is what I think about from Nigeria because, of course, I'm thinking about the Dream. Akeem the Dream Olajuwon. Oh, one of the greatest to ever do it. All right. Appreciate everybody who's been a part of this one. I'm going to get on the road, and then we'll do a show from Colorado tomorrow. I'm going to go do some skiing. Well, just kind of pretend to ski because I don't think there's any snow. We're headed for the mountains, and we'll see you tomorrow. Scotty Swingler, tremendous work as always. And thank you to Rogue Media Network, Lizzie, the whole gang there. We will speak to you tomorrow at maybe 2 o'clock. Good night.